So guys, welcome back to another Kamikaze creation video. So it's all going pretty good. Had a little bit of a scare, which I'll talk about later on in the video. But she's ready to go for another run today, a bit of a Mother's Day run. This car was originally purchased in this style, like the Atlantis Blue UC Tirana, because my wife had one when she was 17 years old. She bought it before she had a license, and that was her first car, and she absolutely loved it. We eventually sold it, broke her heart when we sold it, married and a growing family and wanted something a bit newer and a bit more reliable, and hindsight says we probably should have never sold it, but life moves you on. Anyway, that was the reasoning behind buying this one, and it is an incredibly clean car. So as you know, the Barnett Performance Engineering setup in it. This is a one-of-a-kind supercharger kit, this one. Now, I think there was half a dozen of these made in this style. This one has actually got 6 injectors, direct injection, custom-made manifold by Shane. And this is the only one produced with a Yellowterra snout on it. There is no others like this one. The underbonnet design with the supercharger is made possible because of the fuel injection. That's one of the reasons I was interested in this when I saw it originally advertised as the full box and dice about 2 years ago. It twigged my imagination. Instead of going the traditional V8 and sticking with the 6 and having a fuel injected supercharged 6-cylinder just seemed to make sense to me. A good friend of mine down in Newcastle, Port Stephens Way, suggested. I think he actually sent me the link. So thanks, Paulie, for doing that. It's turned out in the end, mate. Long road, fair few bucks, but it's looking awesome. Paulie and I both had UCs when we were young fellas. He had I bought his off him, a Jasmine yellow one, and my wife had the blue one when we got together. So she's running standard 17 standard style rims, all standard spec, stud pattern, size, offsets, all of that. But they are a performance rim, really nice looking rim. And I've had the whole car resprayed in Atlantis Blue 2-pack. The interior is very standard. Other than that ECU and electronics sitting in the glove box now. It's running a 5-speed Celica box, a steel case box. And it all matches and suits very well. I probably will eventually go and put a drop tank in it. This is working for me at the moment. The old tank had a massive leak in the neck, where the neck joined to the fuel tank had come loose. So this was an easy option. I bought this fuel cell, fitted it up to the boot, and this is Shane's fuel system that came with the full box and dice. So it's a Carter fuel pump off to the side, which is pulling from the main tank, and then it's a Bosch style 044 pushing fuel up to the front of the car and supplying that fuel rail. I've got it set at about, I think it's on nearly 60 pounds of pressure. I think about 52, 53 is what Shane originally recommended. Tidied the boot up a little bit, had that wheel cover made up by some very good friends of ours, which just tidied the boot up really well. It's running a big system all the way through with a catalytic converter on it. I need to trim that pipe off a little bit and maybe put a chrome piece on it. But she's looking good, and this is the end of probably a 3-year project to have it looking like this and running like it is. From when I bought the car out of Monto in Queensland off a young fella up there, still very much in contact with him. He likes seeing the progress, and he absolutely loves seeing this car turn into what it has turned into. Anyway, we're going to go for a bit of another run, and you're going to have a listen to the engine, how it performs in different situations. We'll do a fair few runs, uphills, downhills, things like that, just to give you a listen to the engine. It's like an angry bee under the bonnet. Anyway, here we go. Problem easily solved, but it was a really terrible sound. We've done a little bit more tuning. Terry came over again, the fella that tuned the car for me, or wrote the tuning map, and we went for a bit of a run. It's still got a little bit of a cough between gears, but it's much better at changing gears. So yeah, enjoy. So there we go, guys. There'll be plenty more action in the old car. She's been built for car shows, and being as unique as it is with that Barnett Performance Engineering supercharger with the Yellowterra snout on it, I'm sure it'll catch the eye of a fair few people. If you see it around at car shows, definitely come up and say good day. New South Wales is the area I'll be showing at this stage. Might make a bit of a run up to Queensland. There's a really good UC Tarana community up in the Sunshine Coast area. But that's the old girl, and I'll keep you up to date with where I go and what I do. I've got a few things to tidy up on it. Mainly on the inside, some of the dash gauges and things like that to fix up, and I'm actually getting a 202 bottom end built just in case. I've seen lots of images of cranks out the side of blocks and things like that, which scare me a little bit. And pretty much the top end of that motor is, there's a fair bit of money in the top end of the motor. The bottom end is reasonably standard, and I think the 202 bottom end that I get built I will do reasonably standard as well. Might brace it up a little bit, make it a little bit stronger, maybe some Starfire rods, like this has got standard rods on the 173 at the moment, standard flat top pistons, mild cam. It's nothing major in the bottom end. All of the performance side of it is in that top end, in that Yellowterra head with the roller rockers. 12-port aluminium Yellowterra head, and that Barnett Performance Engineering full box and dice, last one and one of a kind, sitting on the top of that engine. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Keep up to date. A lot more projects to come, and you won't stop seeing this one appearing on the videos either. Catch you guys.